Okay, this is the last of the altered recipe cards in the series. We did 10 altogether, and I couldn't find the actual last recipe card, but I found this white index card, which is perfect, same size, same idea with the lines on the back, just like the recipe cards I was using. So here is what I came up with. I was going to be using eyelets and charms and what have you, but I did a little bit of a different idea. So I was going to do the eyelet thing, but with the idea that I wanted to do, it was going to have the charms either coming down this side or going across the top, and then have the little charms hanging down here. So I thought, well, I'm going to do a whole series using the eyelets with embellishing. So that's going to be a whole new series with just using our eyelets, and then what can we come up with once we've made embellishments using the eyelets. Now, what are we going to add to make that an embellishment? So this is going to actually start a new series in itself. So I'm going to start a new series after this one. So the next video will be all about being able to use your beads, your jewelry supplies, and we're going to make beautiful hand beaded, hand sewn embellishments. And it's very, very easy, very, very simple. And I'm going to show you exactly today the supplies that I used to make this beautiful embellishment. So what do you think about that? Isn't that gorgeous? I've used a piece of muslin, a piece of felt, so you can see here. So you could use batting, but I wanted to use felt. I like to save my batting for quilting projects, and so since I have a lot of felt, and then the gray felt was good, it wasn't going to be showing up through the muslin. I didn't want to use black or red or blue or green, you know, that kind of an idea. So ideally, if I would have had white felt or the beige felt, and then this, when I put this to the felt and then I stitched, so the first thing I did was stitch this lace trim here, up here. So I just went across the top with a running stitch, down the sides with a running stitch, and then just went in through here and tacked that down. And then with this crocheted piece, or tatted piece, I'm not really sure which one it was, because you can use a very small crochet needle hook, and very thin yarn, and you could get the same look. So it could be tatted, it could be crocheted, I'm not sure. Then I did the same thing. I just went around and tacked it all around first, just to the muslin and felt, and then lastly today I've glued on this index card. So now this is the same size, so it will fit in my album perfectly. The last page in the album, so it can go right in here. I always find if I put the top in first, for some reason, then it will slide in perfectly. But if I try to do it the opposite way, it doesn't want to go. So this one is vertical. This one is vertical. Goes that direction. So this is the large tag, and like I told you in my last video, so I had to take it out. I knew it wasn't going to fit because of that little tab on the top, because I wanted it to be able to peek out so that you could, you know, pull it out and know that that was a pocket there. This one is vertical. The rest are all horizontal. So that was the belly band, the hinge accordion piece here to add the second page. This was the waterfall. This was the snippet roll embellishment. This was the envelope embellishment. This was the collage embellishment. And this was the applique embellishment. And then this, of course, is applique as well. So look at the album. So it's very, very full, as you can see. But I'm not finished with this last one here, so we're going to show you the finishing touches of what to do with this. All right, slide it back out of there. And the glue needs to dry as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a blanket stitch all the way around this. So if you're not familiar with hand stitching, you're not familiar with embroidery, hand quilting, any of that, then this is going to be a good video for you so that you can see just how easy it is to do a blanket stitch and then what it will look like. So let me show you an example of, this is my current May embellishment kit that's in my Etsy shop. It's only $5 and you get all these beautiful pieces. And this one is hand stitched, this one is sewn on the machine, this one is a little snippet, roll snip strip. This was all, of course, done on the machine. And then this one is a little cluster, and then your lace and trim and die cuts, a vintage button, a vintage book page. So all of this for $5 is a fantastic deal, especially with work involved in the snippet rolls, the time that goes involved in that. So this is very similar to what I did here. So I just added an extra couple of different embellishment ideas. But here's the blanket stitch. I just want to show you this. Okay, and this is a vintage button, a little cluster there onto fabric, and then backed with fabric. This I used the batting in between, so I did use my batting for this. And this is a little miniature piece of fabric art all in itself. But look at how beautiful the blanket stitch makes that. Isn't that just adorable? And so you can use the same color. If you want it to all blend, you can use, like I did, a contrasting color so that it stands out. So you can use it in any way you want. So in this case, because white and the cream go so beautifully together, that's what I'm going to use for that project. So if you're interested in picking up one of these May embellishment kits for $5 plus shipping, then head on over to my Etsy shop. The link is in the description below. And it also comes with one of my hand-stitched envelopes, and you can use it to keep your embellishments in, or you can use it for the cash envelope system. That's what I make these for originally. I use mine to keep my emergency cash in here at home. You can use it for receipts, coupons, little ephemera pieces, whatever you want to use it for. And so that also comes in the kit. So I mean, this kit is worth more than $5, but I wanted to keep it affordable, and I wanted to start this new series off. So each month I'll have a new set that will come out. So June's, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so what you're going to need is your embroidery floss. This is 6 strands of thread. So you separate them out usually in 2 strands at a time when you're going to do any kind of embroidery work. And now I have one already ready to go here. This has 2 strands on it. And this is just using a regular sewing needle, very small eye on this, and I have to definitely use a needle threader. Then I also have my larger embroidery needle, which is this one here. So I don't know if you can really see the eye on that one. To see is much longer, and that allows you to be able to get the floss through it really easily. But since I already had this one started, I thought, well, let me go ahead and see. But this is what you would want to use to actually sew on your beads, because you need this small eye for the beads to slip over. The other larger embroidery needle eye is too big for these size beads. Now if you have, like this one here particularly, this has a larger hole, then that embroidery needle eye would be perfect. So just depending on the size of the opening of your bead will determine which needle you can use. So I knew I was going to be like on these. This was smaller, so I had to go with the smaller eye, but because I'm using the needle threader, then that's no problem, and you can still use 2 strands. All right, so to do this, you definitely want to have a knot in the end of your string, thread, whatever. And it doesn't really matter where on your project you start. You can start in a corner, in the middle, wherever it is. Like I'm saying, it does not matter. So now on this particular thing, I really do want to go through the index cards, so the paper, and then I'm going to go through 2 layers of the felt is the second layer, the muslin is the third layer. Now when I have to start going through the trim here, now that's going to be a 4th layer. So you really need a sharp needle, and it's going to take time. You just take your time, don't rush it, and you know, because you want to, you know, be able to pierce and get through the thing. So what I was thinking also you could do to help it along is if you have a really small, tiny hole puncher, then you could come along and you could punch on the paper, so that would help you to be able to go through the paper easily. And also, if you want to use a ruler so that you have your stitches more or less evenly spaced, you could do that as well. But I don't need to, you know, I don't go all that extra time to do that. So, I mean, I pretty much know how to do this and what I'm doing. So, I am noticing like a little bit right here is a little bit bigger, and I want to be able to catch this. So to get my stitch to come out the way I want it, I'm going to have to trim off this extra bit of the paper here. Otherwise, it's not going to work out right. Okay. And then over here. All right, that looks like it might be all right. Okay, so then down here, this is folded in half, so that's going to be a little bit thicker. So I'm going to try to just go through here and see if I can actually go through, or do I need to punch it? Oh, no, good. Okay, good. See, because this is a very sharp, there are actually needles called sharps, and that's what you want. Okay, so but the first thing I want to do is I need to hide the knot. I don't want the knot to be seen. So I'm going to lift up the piece of material first and hide my knot. Okay, so now the knot can be underneath it. There you see, and you won't see it. Now I want to come back here and I want to pick up through the paper and the I don't have the strongest of hands to do this kind of thing, so this is going to take me a little bit of a time. But I just wanted to show you exactly how to get this thing started, what to do, and then, you know, and then you can space it, you can just kind of eye it and know how much space you want between each stitch. Okay, so there's the first one. So you see how it comes on the outside, and you have your 2 stitches going vertical, and then this one is going horizontal. And so you just want to space it out, you know, go over a little bit more, and then you take this piece of thread, not the one on the needle, but the other one, and you come behind the needle. So this would be the top, this would be underneath. So you want to come underneath, behind the needle, and then that's what gives you that cute little row. Like a little fence is what it really reminds me of. Okay, so there's 3 stitches right there. So now that, hopefully, by the time when I get over here to this side, I will be able to kind of get that wrinkle. I should have kind of got it on the wrinkle, but anyway. It's beautiful either way, with a little bit of a wrinkle or not. So wrinkles are free. I hope this style altered recipe card inspires you to make your own set of altered recipe cards or altered playing cards or altered index cards, but just to make a whole set of some type of altered card series. And you can do the same thing like I've did and get one of those 10 pocket albums, photo albums, and 4x6, and just use that to make to be the holder. And then you'll know, okay, when you want an embellishment for a page or a Happy Mail gift, whatever it is, then you just go to that album and you look through, and then when you make one and replace it in that same style. So I'm going to do a whole series now, like I said, on hand beaded embellishments. And I already have a theme ready to go. So once I finish this, I will show you what that is. So let me finish stitching it, and then I will come back in a minute and show you the finished card, and then I will show you what is going to be the series of hand beading and what we're going to do with it. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, here is the finished, beautiful, altered recipe card, and in this case, altered index card. And then I dated it in the corner as always, and then you can see the blanket stitching going around it. Isn't that gorgeous? Didn't it just turn out beautiful, amazing, so lovely? All right, so now this can go into the album, and our little altered recipe card journaling cards are now completed. A little awkward trying to get that stuffed in there. Ta-da! Okay, now we got it. Let's go back down a little bit. There we go. I was a little too close. So that finishes that, and then I'll embellish this back cover, and then I will have that, put it on my shelf. So now I can mark that off of my list, and let's see here. So we had 19 that we were going to make. Yeah, we did the snippet roll. The eyelets is going to be for the next project. And I believe everything on this side was completed. And yes, so that one we did as well. I think that one was the last one. So I think this one was done on maybe Saturday. Did I write anything over here? No. Okay, so that one was the Saturdays. I'm pretty sure I did one on Saturday. So that was the 15th. Okay. So now let's take a look at the next series and what is I'm going to do. So I made a template, and it's going to be a heart. So the heart shape is going to be the whole series of this embellishment with the beaded, beautiful hand-sewn beaded embellishments. Okay? And how I made the heart, so in case you don't have one, you can already do. Just so happens I had this bread warmer stone, okay, in the heart shape, and I don't use it, so I just have it here in my craft room. And then I decided what was the shape I wanted to do, and I didn't want to just do a square or a circle, which you could do a circle, that's fine. But I decided to go with the heart because I really don't have heart-shaped embellishments in any of my stash. So I wanted to start making some. All right, so first you want to start with a template. All right, let's get this measured here. So this approximately, okay, 5 inches across. And then, okay, from this center point is 4 inches. and 3 inches. Okay, so it just would depend on what template you're going to use. So this I have to hold on to because that's going to be my base. All right, now this is the beautiful beaded embellishment that I made. Okay, so I used felt again here on the back, and then blanket stitched again, and used my seed beads and every type of bead that I have, round ones. I don't remember what these are called, but anyway, looks like a rectangle, but I forget what they're called. I can't remember now right now what they are. Never really got into the beading world. My daughter did, but now that I have all of her her supplies, then I don't have to go purchase any. So the only thing that I usually ever need to purchase would be the little jump rings, or the eye hooks, or the blunted end eye pens. I don't know if that's what they call them, just eye pens or something like that. So, and then these are just, little charms and whatever's that were in her stash. So I decided, I just went through it and picked out what I wanted and what I was going to do. So I wanted to do the purple and the green. That was my color basis. So you want to start off with a color basis. So the first thing I did was the piece of gray felt, because that was the only light colored felt that I have, and I don't want to use my batting. I want to use up the felt. Then I went into my vintage lace stash, and I found this beautiful piece, bigger piece of vintage lace, so that I just laid it on top, cut it out, and to the heart shape, and I used my heart shape template to do this whole thing. And it was very easy to do. It was not hard at all, not difficult at all. So if you even wanted to use, I did, yes, in between. So in between the felt and this lace is a white piece of cotton fabric. So it's 3 layers. So the felt, the cotton fabric, and the lace. Okay, and then to keep all of that together, I did a blanket stitch all the way around. So none of this is stitched in here. I just wanted it to be flowing and open and all that. But then after I did the blanket stitch, okay, so that was the first thing to hold everything into place. Second, then I came along, because you can see all my stitching here on the back now, okay? So then I came in with just the same needle that I used for the blanket stitch that I just did, just a very small eye on the needle so that the beads would go through. And so all of these beads, even the little seed beads. Now some of the seed beads have a smaller opening, and then it would get stuck. So what happens in that case is you just have to back up. It's like if you're not going to just put one bead on at a time when you're working with the seed beads. You put on like 5 or 6 or whatever. And so you have to back them off, which is easy to do. And then take that one off, and then just start over. So it's really easy. It might sound difficult, but once you start working with it, then you'll understand what it is I'm talking about. And then, of course, I didn't start with one super long piece of thread either. I worked in small sections. So I worked like halfway around here, and then halfway here, and then halfway here. So I kept my thread short. So when I needed to back off the beads, all I have to do is cut that little knot, back all the beads off, tie the knot again, and then start all over again. And then you have to, loop it back through. But it's, so it's a little bit of a process. But all of that's part of hand beading. Any little thing can happen. You might have to start over. You might have to start a new strand. You might have to rethread your needle, that kind of a thing. I find working with a polyester cotton thread works best for me. And I have never liked working with that nylon thread or the metallic thread. It just doesn't work good for me with this, but this type does. It's very sturdy, never comes apart, never breaks. And then for here, all I did was take this little charm jewelry findings. They call it a finding. Don't ask me why they call it that, but anyway. So this little charm, and I'm a type of person that I put names on things that seem to fit with what it is. It looks like a charm to me because it already has a little hole already in it, so thus a charm. But in the section in the Michaels or Joann's, it's jewelry findings. Now you have your bead section, you have your, I don't know if they call the findings, if it's metal pieces maybe, I don't know, I gotta look all that up. And then you have your seed beads, like I said, and then whatever else these other beads are called. So I just put my own little jump ring on it, and then I left a space here intentionally so that I could put that on there, and I just ran it through. I hid my knot underneath of here. And so you always want to hide your knot between your fabric and your felt. So you hide your knots. And now this can be glued on to the page, the cover of a journal, wherever, however I want to do this. You can use this as on a tote bag. Anything that would be, you know, obviously now have to be hand washed. So if you were going to put it on a garment and, you know, upcycle, make a little pocket, this would be an adorable pocket onto, you know, something. See, it's big enough for that. Small, but big enough, you know, put a little hanky in or something. So it's just precious, absolutely precious. Happy Mail, whatever. So then again, you know, because I didn't hide my knots here because I knew I was going to glue this to something else. But that's going to be the new series, so I hope you're getting excited about it, and we're going to be getting out all of our beads, and we're going to be making beautiful things out of beads and heart shape. So everything's going to be heart shape. It may not be this same big size, but it's going to be heart shape. It's going to have beads, and it's going to be an embellishment. So I hope you're going to join me for that series. So it'll be a 10-part series, the same thing, and it's going to go into the album that I showed you last week. So this starts off my first one, so I'm already ahead of the game. So the first one is already done, so I just need to make 9 more. Alrighty, and then I'm going to keep my template right in here as well, because I don't want to lose it, so I think maybe I'll put it in the second pocket. So that way I don't lose my little template, and then if I decide I want to make something else that shape, then we will. But everything is going to be hand beaded, sewn and hand beaded. So get ready to learn how to hand stitch, ready to learn how to use beads in your projects for your junk journals, your scrapbooking, your Happy Mail, even if it's going to just be altering clothing. So I might even do that. It's not strictly just for embellishments for a junk journal. So it could be to add this to a garment. So I'm really thinking, because my passion, one of my things on my list is I've always wanted to embellish my own clothing and make it beautiful by adding lace and these pockets and trim and patches, you know, just all that kind of thing, to plain, obviously plain things. Like, say for instance you get a stain on a garment and you cannot get that stain out, but you love that, whatever it is, dress, shirt, skirt, jacket, then you can add something like this to it and cover the stain. But obviously it would have to be, you know, in line with whatever the style was, and then you might need to put more of whatever that is, you know, if it's just, it might stand out too oddly. Why do you have that one little patch? Even though it might be pretty, but depending on where it is on the garment, you get my point. So anyway, but anyway, you can, that's just giving you ideas on this. So please join me in my next series of everything to do with adding beads to your projects. Yes, we will be incorporating eyelets into that as well. We're going to be making charms with beads. And so everything that is to do with beading into our crafting and junk journaling and whatevering, that's what's coming up. So please join me in that video, and I will see you in the next series. So keep creating in the sunshine, and if you like this, please subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, share on your social media. All that's right there underneath the video, and I will see you in the next video. Keep creating in the sunshine. Bye-bye.